The Winter Tree by Georgina Lewis. Read by Jill Greenacre. Chapter 17. The Forest. That evening when they'd gone and Elizabeth had been put to bed, I tackled Hester. I said nothing at all while Lissy bathed the baby under my eye in the kitchen sink and Hester fed her under Lissy's eye. They put her to sleep in a drawer with a pillow for a mattress and two of Mother's knitted blankets and the old yellow shawl around her, nice and snug. "She went off to sleep like a lamb," said Lissy to me afterwards, aglow with vicarious motherhood. "I'll just wash out these nappies and hang them on the line before I take Father out. I think you ought to go for a walk, Abby, don't you? He's done nothing but sit up there in his shed this afternoon since we got back, all quiet and alone apart from tea. He won't even play a tune or two. He just sits there staring. I'm awful worried. He ate his tea, but he didn't really seem to know what he was doing, did he? Take him out for a bit, shall I? Get him to talk about Mother, perhaps. Do you think so, Abby?" "Yes, my pet, that's a good idea. It might help if you can get him to talk a bit. Besides, I want to talk to Hester. Where is she? And where's Thomas got to? Oh, here he is, behind me. Thomas, did you thank Toby's mother for having you?" Thomas nodded. "Ab, did Perrin come? Did you go to church for Mother? Is it all over, Ab?" I put my arm around his small shoulders. "Yes, my pet, it is. I'm glad you didn't come, Thomas. It would only have upset you. It was much better not. There, don't cry, my darling, don't cry." I held my arms about him. After a while he looked up. "It's all right, I've stopped now. Ab, did Hester come? Can I see our baby?" I took his hand and led him into the bedroom, where Elizabeth lay asleep in her drawer, small fists clasped beside her ears, her fingers curled in sleep. Thomas stared at her for a while, then looked at me. "Can I get my stuff, Ab?" I nodded, and he dashed out, returning almost at once, and with a concentration beyond his years, he settled down beside the baby with his books and pencils in his hand. "You won't make any noises to wake her up, will you?" I asked him sternly, "or you'll have to come out of here quick sharp." His eyes stayed on the baby's face, and his hands leafed over the pages of his pad, but he turned his curly head, haloed with wild hair, in my direction, so I knew he'd heard. Quiet as a cat watching a bird was Thomas with a model to draw from, so I left him to it. I went downstairs to find Hester. I found her in the orchard, deep in daffodils. The sight of her standing there beneath the trees startled me into silence. The words that I planned to say melted away, and I could only stand and watch, reminded of the moment years ago when I used to come upon her thus, silent in the orchard. She must have heard me coming, for she turned around with a wistful smile. "Do you remember, Abby, how we used to pick daffodils to put on the grave? Sometimes there were bluebells. We'd take them up there in great bunches, wouldn't we? And we'd put them on the grave." "You would, Hester," I reminded her. "He was your grandfather, remember?" She smiled. For a moment I thought the lingering sun had suddenly come out upon the orchard, but it was only Hester smiling. "Come in," I said. "I want to talk to you." She followed me back through the meady-coloured daffodils down to the cottage and stopped me at the door. Her hand moved on the latch. "Perrin told you, didn't he?" she said. "Yes, Hester," I said. "He did. Why didn't you tell me? I would much rather have heard it from you." "I was afraid to tell you, Abby. I was so very afraid." "Afraid?" I echoed. "Whatever for? How could you be afraid of me, you silly girl?" "Not afraid of you, Abby, but afraid you might not let me stay if you knew the truth of it." "But Hester, of course I'd let you stay. This is your home. At least it was." I sighed. "You better come inside and tell me all about it." We went into the living room, dim with evening. Lissy had picked primroses to cheer us up a little after the service, and they massed in velvety yellows in a bowl on our wide window ledge. A wandering bumblebee rattled angrily at the window pane, seeing daylight and trying to escape. I moved Lissy's currant knitting and sat Hester down. "Now, tell me," I said. In a moment, she sprang to the window after the bee, cupping her hand gently round its fat body. "Careful, it'll sting you." She laughed gently. "No, he won't." She let it clamber round a finger, lifting itself upright with hairy L-shaped feet and pausing for a moment on her fingertip. "There," she said, "you're ready now, off you go." She saw it to the open window, and I was briefly reminded of the jackdaw all those years ago. "Hester," I said, "will you please come and tell me, is it true?" "Is what true?" she asked, her back to me. "What did he tell you? Oh, Abby, I so love this time of evening." She sobered. "I wish Auntie Susan was here. I do miss her so." I waited, saying nothing, and presently she came and sat down opposite me very calmly in an armchair. "Yes," she said, "it is true. David and I have parted." She said it in a curiously pat way, very light, like a child reciting a lesson. "But why, Hester? What on earth happened? What went wrong? You were so happy when I left you after Elizabeth." She shrugged her slight shoulders and caught her hands together in an old childish gesture. "I don't know. It all went cold and lonely again almost straight away, almost as soon as you'd left." "But Hester, the house, what will he do? Where will he go?" "Oh, David will stay there, I expect. Either that or go back to his mother's. She doesn't like me, Abby. She never has done. She'll be glad I've gone. She would much rather have had Veronica for a daughter-in-law, you know. She told me so. I expect David will stay on in the house on his own." "But I thought that he had left you," I said, puzzled. "Perrin said—" "No." She picked idly at a thread on her skirt. "It's not quite like that, Abby. The other way round." "You mean you left him?" "Yes, that's right." She examined a fingernail, avoiding my eyes. "But why, Hester?" I asked. "You said you were fond of him, and he loves you very much. You know he does. I thought you loved him too." She gave me a strange, veiled look for a moment, and then said, "Yes, I do love him quite a lot. He was wonderfully patient." "Then what's wrong, Hester? Surely if you love him, then your place is there with him." She looked at me. "It seems so simple to you, doesn't it?" "Oh, I wish it was simple, really I do. If only you knew how much I wish it could be like that. But he's not real, Abby. He isn't real. I'm not real. It's all so strange. It always has been." I picked up a strand of Lissy's wool and began to play idly with it, twisting it round my finger. "Hester, I don't know exactly what you mean, I'm afraid. How can he not be real? Of course he's real. Like you are and I am, and Elizabeth. He helped to make Elizabeth, didn't he? And she's real enough, surely. So how can David not be real, for goodness sake?" "Oh," she said in a voice that was almost a wail, "you don't understand, do you? Nobody has, not ever, except... No, nobody. Let me stay here, Abby, just for a little while, please. Perhaps I'll go back to David. I promise I'll think about it. Only just let me stay for a little bit first. A few weeks, perhaps, and then I'll go away. But please let me stay here for a little while first. I've missed it so badly. I can't bear it if I can't be here." There was an extraordinary anguish in her low voice. She clasped her hands in her lap, squeezing them together so that the knuckles went white. "Just for a few weeks, Abby. Then I promise I'll go away." "What about David?" She didn't answer me. Her eyes were upon the window, suddenly wide with alarm. I turned my head around to see what was there, and caught the faint edge of a shadow passing the window. "It's only Lissy coming back with father," I said. She shook herself. "Hester," I said, "you're shaking." I put my hand on her forehead. She was quite cool, but trembling. "It's nothing, only a chill," she said. For a moment I thought, "Oh, nothing. Look, here's Lissy with Uncle Garfield." She stood up. "Don't tell them, Abby, promise. Not for a bit, anyway. Let me stay for a few days first." I threw aside the wool and sighed. "All right," I said. The next morning, Lissy and I set out for Polly Tregulla's to borrow a pram for Elizabeth. Their younger child was almost 3, and Polly had offered to lend us the pram whenever Hester should be at home. We left Hester in the kitchen washing up the breakfast things, Elizabeth propped up on a pillow beside her in the wicker chair that had been Mother's, with a patchwork cushion on one side of her and Father's rolled-up cardigan on the other to prevent her from rolling off, and set off together. Lissy was humming gently to herself, and we strolled along pleasantly in the morning sunshine in no particular hurry. We came down the lane towards the village, and the sun struck mellowly upon the slate cottage roofs. There was a smell of baking in the air and newly washed clothes, and I thought how strange it was that my own mother could have been buried yesterday, but the world could go on as normal, doing its washing and baking and worrying about paying its electricity bills as if poor mother had never even been born. I suppose that to anyone else she need not have been born, that all the stars and planets wheeling about the vast heavens would have blazed and turned and wheeled just the same whether she or we had been born to ponder upon them or not. But to Perrin and Lissy and Thomas and me, she was the cornerstone of our knowledge of this life and universe. Sometimes it seems to me that it is upon the merest chance that we came into this world at all. For if my parents had not come together at that particular moment in which I was conceived, I would not have been created. Some other child would have come at some other moment in my place, but it would not have been me, and I should have missed existence altogether. Some other child might have been called Abigail, might still have looked like me, with the same brownish hair and my freckles, but it would not have been me inside. And all in all, I was very glad that I had been made me, for it was a very pleasant life, with all those I loved about me, and I was grateful to Mother for her bit of creation. We reached Harry Tregeller's at the far end of the village. We went up a narrow lane between 2 rows of cottages, climbed the high steps and knocked on the front door. It was opened by Toby, round of face, with Harry's same short nose. He looked at us without interest, sniffed, then called across his shoulders, "It's Thomas's 2 sisters!" He frowned at us. "Where's Thomas to?" "At school, of course," said Lissy scornfully. "Why aren't you?" Toby regarded us disdainfully, his jaws working, his hand in a small white bag. From time to time he withdrew his hand and conveyed it to his mouth. "Why aren't you?" "Never you mind," retorted Lissy. "We've come to see your mother." Toby sniffed again and Polly shouldered past him. "Who is it?" she asked. "Oh, Abby, it's you. Come in, my handsome, do." She peered at Toby. "Here, you're not still eating sweets, are you? My dear soul, you don't never stop, do you? Come in, girls, it's nice to see you both. Here, Abby, I'm awful sorry about your mother. Lovely woman. Come about the pram, have you? I thought you would. When's Hester coming then? Oh, she's here, is she? Toby, get on outside and look after Dawn in the garden, will you? And mind that cough of yours." She led us through the scullery behind the kitchen, where an enormous green mangle stood on a table. Beside it, and covered with cobwebs, stood a low, old-fashioned baby carriage. "Is it any good, Abby?" she asked anxiously. "You're very welcome to borrow it for Hester's babe, my handsome, if 'tis any good. Harry was going to clean it up a bit for you. It's been stuck here for 2 or 3 years now, ever since Dawn started walking. When did Hester come?" "Yesterday," I said. "She's staying for a while." "Oh, isn't it lovely for you all? Lovely girl, Hester. What's she called, our baby? Elizabeth? Is that after you, Lizzie? Oh, my dear life, I bet you just love to have that little baby in the house, don't you?" She detached the pram from its corner and bounced the handle up and down until clouds of dust flew off it. "Can you give it a clean, Abby? I wish I'd known. I'd have cleaned it myself for you." Lizzie's eyes shone. She held the handle reverently and moved it up and down so that the pram rocked on its ancient springs and creaked. Polly nodded towards her and winked at me. "Proper little mother, aren't you, Liz? How old are you now, my handsome? 15, are you? My dear life, how time flies. I remember when you 2 girls was little things down here somewhere, holding on to your mother's skirts when I was carrying Toby. And look at him now. Dear soul, it makes you feel old, seeing the years pass so quick. Here, Abby, I'm some sorry about your ma, my handsome. Sudden, wasn't it? We knew she hadn't been too well, of course, in bed and that, but we never realised 'twas so serious. How's Garfield taking it? Awful cut up, is he? George Pascoe was thinking of a half-muffled peel for Susan, but Harry wondered if Garfield might take it badly, be upset in that. What do you think, Abby? "Oh dear," I said, "I don't really know one way or the other. I don't think Father would even notice at the moment. I don't know what to say about that." "Oh well, perhaps we'll be better not. I'll tell Harry what you've said. He's awful sorry, Abby. A lovely woman she was, your ma. Everybody liked her. You just had the family to the funeral, did you? Did Joseph go?" "No," I told her. "Father wanted just the 6 of us. Thanks for having Thomas, Polly. I think he would have been upset." "Yes, of course," she said. "He's never any trouble, that boy. I'll have Thomas any time. He had Toby and Dawn sitting on the floor in there quiet as mice. drawing them, he was, all afternoon. He's awful good, Abby. I couldn't believe he'd done it when he showed the drawings to me. Here, come and have a look at them. He said I could keep them. Better than any old snaps they are. Come and have a look. We found Hester cooking when we got back with the pram. Lissy had pushed it all the way home, up the lane and in at our gate, refusing any offers of help. She left it by the back door, and we went into the kitchen to see Hester at the table making pastry. She looked up and gave us a little smile. I thought I'd make a pie for dinner. She waved a hand towards the pantry. Uncle Garfield's in there doing something with his wine. Did you borrow the pram from Harry's Polly? Lissy giggled. Oh, Hester, you should see it. It's huge and very old and awful dirty. But I'm going to clean it up and put some scouring powder on it to get the white back, and it'll be lovely for taking Elizabeth out. Come and see it, Hester. Where's Elizabeth? Where's my baby to? Let her come and see it too. She's upstairs asleep, said Hester, wiping her hands on her apron. You shall get her when she wakes up, I promise. There was no post, Abby, and nobody's called. She held out her hand to Lissy. Come and show me the pram. So you think it'll be all right for Elizabeth walks? Lissy took her out, and I heard them laughing outside the door. I went upstairs to change my shoes and peeped in at Elizabeth. She was fast asleep. I looked at her, remembering the moments of her hasty arrival, and her mouth contracted into a small pink line. She turned and whimpered in her sleep and stretched her fingers into small rose-coloured stars. I put a finger into a star and jiggled it gently, and ruthless tendrils of life curled about my finger and held on. Downstairs in the pantry beneath the bedroom, Father shuffled invisibly, clinking wine jars. I heard the back door close, and then the sound of vigorous brushing beneath the window, and Lissy's muffled coughs. I stood there for some time, my finger held firm in its stellate grip, while the sounds of home came in through the window and up through the floor. And gradually a certain curious rapture came upon me standing there, a kind of bliss of the everyday world, the sounds and smells of stirring life, the tide of breath within my lungs, the mysterious ecstasy of senses, sight and smell and touch, and the edge of hunger and of grief. I thought how strange it was that I did not mourn my mother buried yesterday, but relinquished her respectfully and with a kind of trust. It was as if bliss came upon me standing there, a glimpse of something beyond reality, as if just for a second I had heard the whir and tick of heaven and the hum at the heart of the atom. The baby struggled a little in her sleep. Downstairs the brushing started up again. There were footsteps, very light, upon the stairs. Hester peeped in. Still asleep, I whispered. She nodded. I've put the pie in the oven. She'll want to feed soon. But I promised Lissy she could come up and get her. I carefully withdrew my finger. I'll come and do the potatoes. They're done, she said. Everything's ready. Oh, Abby, it's so good to be home. At the sound of her voice, the baby opened blue eyes and screwed them up again at the light. She began to cry, little spluttering complaints in her throat, then smiled toothlessly, writhing with delight when she saw Hester. You'd better tell Lissy that she's awake, said Hester. I'll change her first, then Lissy can take her down. She's in the garden cleaning the pram. As I went down the stairs in search of my sister, I could smell the pie and hear the potatoes bubbling on the stove. The memory of that moment in the bedroom when bliss had come to switch a light on in my world remained with me, and I thought how when it had come it was nothing but a distillation of everyday homely things, the sort of things that any woman might have around her, but held within it a shaft of pure radiance. And I thought also how strange it was that I had found my joy within another woman's baby's hand. Thomas came in from school while I was laying the table. Look, Abby, he told me proudly, holding up a battered volume. I got a book. Teacher gave it to me to keep for my own. It's all about anatomy, so I can see what goes on under people's skins, muscles and bones and things. She says it's important to know what happens underneath. Anatomy? I asked him, laughing. Oh, you mean anatomy? Yes, I suppose it is important if you want to draw everything in the right place. How lovely, Thomas. Wash your hands, my pet. Dinner won't be long. Hester is going to feed Elizabeth first, but you can start yours if you like. No, he said. I'll wait for you. I want to put this in my room. You won't take it away, Abby, will you? You won't tidy round it and get it lost? I don't want to get it lost. No, I won't go in there at all, I promised him. Mind you keep your room very tidy now, then I won't have to. You've been much better lately. Now look, here's Lissy and Hester with the baby. Pop upstairs if you want to, and I'll call you when the dinner's ready. He was gone in a moment, rushing up the stairs to his bedroom, his coat, satchel and shoes scattered all over the living room like driftwood thrown up by a passing wave. I sighed, then chuckled a bit at the thought of Thomas poring over anatomy, and gathered them up into a heap on a chair. Lissy came in with Elizabeth in her arms. Hester took the baby from her, and Lissy went out again to the pram. Hester settled down to give the child her dinner. She always fed the baby openly on the sofa in front of us. It was a thing of great beauty to see her unbuttoning her front and watch the bliss on the baby's small face as she sought and found the milk. Hester, richly maternal, bent over her, one white shoulder and the curve of breast above the baby's eager, searching mouth. How does it feel? I asked her shyly, to feed a baby, Hester. She looked up at me, her eyes dark-shadowed, mysterious with motherhood, and said softly, "Oh, it feels like clouds feel, I should think, giving rain to thirsty earth." About her, as she sat feeding her child, there fell a mellow silence. The baby suckled contentedly. Upstairs, Thomas bumped softly as he moved about his room, and father rattled in the pantry. On the windowsill, a shaft of sunlight struck the bowl of Lissy's primroses with a golden glance and fell further onto Hester's hair. Absorbed in her ancient task of womankind, she leaned slightly forward, her body curved protectively round the child, so that her rich hair fell over the baby in a luminous shadow. So, I thought, might Mary have leaned, feeding the infant Jesus on an April morning. There was a sudden, unexpected footfall on the step outside. A knock, and the door swung open. Hester, her shoulder curved about her child, looked up with hazy interest to see who came, and blinked a little in the sudden light. I looked up to see who trespassed upon Glory at lunchtime on a weekday, and Joseph stood in the doorway. With his hand upon the latch, his eyes fell upon Hester feeding her babe, upon auburn head softly raised above small yellow head, and his face was set with a terrible raw yearning. And Hester, looking up, saw Joseph standing there. Rich amber eyes met grey ones with a little sigh. Into both their faces there came a look of curious enchantment, as if in ancient recognition their two souls stooped low and loomed purple-shadowed and crepuscular over the great dark forest of desire. As if their souls had thirsted for 1,000 years, seeking a wellspring of water in the earth, and had come upon enough to shake the heart, and drinking, then be stilled.